So basically, everyone wants to become a business owner. Everyone is starting up a business. It's kind of funny, because everybody's trying to escape the 9 to 5. And it's understandable, of course. No one wants to work for, another person. Everybody wants to have something they call their own. Everyone wants to build something they call their own. But the crazy part of all of this is that the 9 to 5 you're running away from is actually helping you more than you know. I think I would always advise people who want to go into business, if you have the opportunity of starting a 9 to 5, there are certain personalities or traits you need to have as a business owner that I feel if you don't do a 9 to 5, it might be difficult for you to grasp the context of being a business owner at the end of the day. As a business owner, there are several things that goes on in your life. You worry about making sales, you worry about not making enough money, you worry about paying your staff, you worry about being overloaded with work, you worry about not having enough work, you just worry about a lot of things, right? One of the major lessons I learned from a 9 to 5 is building structure and systems for your business. Earlier, when I started my business, I basically just ran my business the way I saw fit. I was moving with vibes, to be honest. The earlier part of my business, I was moving with vibes. I was moving with my gut feeling. I was moving with my intuition and all of that. But business is actually more than that. If you're going to build something substantial, or if you're going to build something meaningful that can go global at the end of the day, it has to be intentional. This is where structures and systems actually comes handy. And for most people, they may never understand how to build structures and systems. Sometimes till you do a 9 to 5 or you work under somebody. So this whole idea of I don't want to work under somebody, I don't want to work under somebody, I think it's something that needs to be eliminated from your mind if you are going to be a business owner. It's fine if you have mentors, you can of course just jump into business and all of that because you've had someone with prior experience or prior training to, impacts knowledge into you about business and the certain challenges you face. But the truth is, one thing nobody tells you about business is when you're going into business or before you go into business, you are very optimistic. And that's the funny thing about being a business owner, right? You feel your idea is what the world needs. And that is not 100% true most of the time. Sometimes you have product ideas, you have strategies in your head. Oh, you just feel like if I can just, put this product into the market, it's going to do tremendously well. I'm sorry to tell you, but that is one big way to fail. There are several things that goes into business, market research, which is the most important thing, before you jump into any business. But nowadays, we see people just going into business all because they want to escape a 9 to 5, and it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry to tell you, but you're going to be very disappointed. I remember speaking to a friend a couple of weeks ago, and I was actually saying, right, have you noticed when you were growing up, you see certain people doing a type of business, and 15 years later, they are still doing that same type of business, but there is no progress, there is no growth. They are just doing the business at that level where they've always been, like for the past 15 years. I dare to say this, right, that I feel like 65% to 70% of business owners who are in Nigeria actually started these businesses just because they want to survive and feed themselves, right? But if you are thinking global, if you are thinking of, putting your business out there to compete with brands and all that, then you have to stop thinking small. You have to stop thinking of just bare survival, instinct and all of that. There needs to be structure to your business. There needs to be systems in your business. I learned what it means to be consistent, what it means to be disciplined, and I learned what it means to show up. That's the word here. I learned what it means to show up daily. There are times you gotta show up if you feel like it, you don't feel like it, you're sick, you're tired. And that has really helped me in my own business as well. There are times whereby I feel so unmotivated. There are times I don't feel the vibe. I don't want to do it. There are times I tell myself, you see this business, I'm tired. I am not doing it. In the first 7 months of my business, right, I lost about, I think, 3 million naira to products. And to me, it just doesn't make sense. And I know there are people with far more worst stories than mine, right? There are days I feel tired. There are days I feel like shit, but I still have to show up because nobody is gonna do my stuff for me. I started this shit, and I'm gonna see it to the end. If you can do a 9 to 5 successfully for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, when you start your business, I'm telling you, you already have that acumen to continue your business regardless of whatever you face. Because when you do a 9 to 5, you're going to feel like shit. There are times the workload might be too much for you, but you still have to do it anyway. There are times you don't feel like showing up to work early every day, but you still have to do it anyway. So these things build character. These things teach you to become a business owner. Do a 9 to 5 and actually experience what it is to own a business later on. These things will help you in the long run. I'm still me. This is Tonavis Limited. This is Unscripted.